LSU goes to Columbia, South Carolina, and loses 77-75, a game that LSU led by double digits in both halves. Really controlled early on and let get away. There's no two ways about it. Just disappointing. There's a lot of different ways to go about it. I opened my podcast by saying, this is not a season-defining loss. It's not a crippling loss. It's not a horrible loss. It's just disappointing. It's a disappointing loss. Should have won the game. About that. They got up 21-7 after 7 minutes of play. And even though Jermaine Cooper had 18 points at the half, LSU still had a 6-point lead because in the first, as we talked about on Friday, into a ton of turnovers, 11 of them, that became 13 points for LSU. They also controlled the glass. They won second chance points 6-0 in the first half. And you stretch the lead out in the second half, and you just let it kind of slip away. Mm-hmm. And it was just a gradual fading, and it ended in really poor late game execution. I have a few concerns about this, and we'll talk about the last possession here pretty shortly. But one alarming trend for LSU to me is the fact that you continue to let somebody get hot, and you don't identify that hot shooter and get a hand in his face on every single possession. We remember this happened against TCU. You let O'Banion make 4 threes, bang, 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 and get them right, stretch that lead out to like 20 at that point, and there's just no need for that. Get over there on him. And then you saw the Vanderbilt game, and that's a situation where you did a poor job at identifying the guy that was a hot hand. It wasn't Scottie Pippen. You didn't have to worry about him. He was doing all the dishing, but you let Rodney Chapman go nuts and hit 6 threes on you for 24 points. And the team has got this identity of we're going to be a switching defense that's real pressure and high energy and is disruptive and gets our hands in it, but you just stay in that and don't adjust by my eye. Mm-hmm. Now, it's possible that Will Wade's telling them to do this or that. Either way, they're not, because you're letting a hot shooter get uncontested looks. And if you look at Couisnard, he scores 18 points in the first half. Then he comes out and hits a 3 with 14:30 to go in the game to give him 23 points. And then you let him get wide open again at 10:53, and then again at 10:18, 2 in the span of 35 seconds, uncontested. He hits threes. Find him. He's got 30. Like, you need to guard this guy, and they just didn't do it.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying all year with this LSU defense. You see them really, have their waves where they're forcing turnovers. The press is really getting into people, and then, other coaches, they get paid money too. They get to call timeout too. And you see teams kind of call those timeouts and really break down the press. And then you see on the defensive side, guys are just overhelping way too much. And a guy beats one guy off the dribble, one step inside the three-point line. You get these huge overreaction from the weak side defense, and it's leaving guys wide open in the help side. And we know anytime you get that 1-5 switch on the big, you got to double team the post, and teams continue to find ways to break that down because now you're playing 4-on-5, and good teams are going to make you pay for that, especially on the road. And I think for me, the biggest thing I thought the X factor, if you're a South Carolina Gamecock fan, is the production you got from Murray and Pinson. We talked about the scoring load that Murray took on, especially with Pinson out of the lineup, and just what a godsend he was, especially making perimeter shots. And we talked about Xavier Pinson coming back into this lineup, being able to be that point guard to break defensive down, get assists. He did have 8 assists, but you shoot 2 for 10 from the field. Murray, you shoot 2 for 11 from the field, and you just got nothing from those two guys, especially in the second half down the stretch. So for me, that was a game that you should have easily won, just playing the way you did, getting the leads that you did. We talked about LSU playing well and getting those leads, and just couldn't take advantage of it. But the one good thing is Tari Eason's got to be Tari Eason. He shows up and seems like in every game, no matter the circumstance, and you know what you got to get from him. Now we just got to get a little more consistency from the other guys.
We'll talk about Eason in a second. We talk about the last possession. What'd you make of Gaines getting a technical with 8 minutes to go, kind of leaving the floor, talking trash, and then he chest bumps a South Carolina player, and they tee him up?
Just the wrong place, wrong time. Just not the time to be doing that stuff. I think if you're up a huge amount and there's some emotion, of course, emotion happens. It's a basketball game, but when you're in a hostile environment, in a game that you desperately need to do some of the things that you want to do as a LSU Tiger basketball program, I just thought it was a wrong time to be doing stuff like that.
I live in a fantasy world where I would like the official, as opposed to just blowing the whistle and throwing the tee, to go over there, grab Gaines and the South Carolina player and say, hey, you two, this does not happen again, period. I don't want to see it again. instead of blowing the whistle and immediately throwing the technical, because South Carolina goes to the line, they make 2, they get the ball, they get a dunk, and that's 4-point possession right there, and you lost the game by 2. That's certainly not why it happened, but it's in the middle of a very tight game. I just don't care for the technical. They're always going to blow it. The officials are just have all the power. I got the whistle. I got the striped shirt. Watch me go to work. Nobody cares, but that's the way they're always going to call it. Gaines has got to do a better job. You just cannot get that technical. All right, some of the things they did to lose a one-possession game like they did. I hated that Imwani missed the front end of a 1-and-1 with 3 minutes and 5 seconds to go. From the 4:39 mark to the 1:51 mark, so about 2.5 minutes, didn't score a basket at a time where you have to have buckets. You weren't able to get them. Got the ball picked for a pick 6 and gave them an easy dunk there late. And then the last possession, what did you make of the play call, the execution, the look they got, all that?
Yeah, I think, with Pinson breaking it down the way he was, you're going to get the help side defense. We've kind of talked about this all season long, really having that guy from the three-point line that in any given situation, he's got to be a problem. We're going to get the other team to, get some switches mixed up. We're going to get them, overlapping and trying to chase this guy down. LSU doesn't have that guy right now that you have to respect at the three-point line. So anytime someone breaks someone down off the dribble, you're going to get that help from the weak side, and they're going to force you to take that. And exactly what South Carolina wanted. They wanted us taking a three-pointer with the game on the line, and that's exactly what they get. It's a make-or-miss league. We happen to miss that one, but with the way this team is currently set up, I can't be too mad at it. You got a wide-open look. It wasn't, J.J. Redick shooting it, but you got a wide-open look with the game on the line. You got to take it.
That's a tepid take, and mine is similar to that. I said on the podcast this morning, I said, look, this would be more interesting, more listener-friendly, more entertaining if I came in here and said one of these two things. Under no circumstance can you shoot a 3. It's a stupid play call, horrible execution. You're only down 2. You don't need a 3. That's an awful job. That'd be entertaining. Or if I said, Tari Easton's the best player on the floor. He's going to be in all conference. He never touches the ball. It's a disastrous play call, awful execution, terrible job. Easton should have had it. Like, okay, that's throwing a fit like Stephen A. does daily, and that gets more listeners than being kind of on both sides of the fence. But that's kind of where I am. So in total, my thoughts are this. The shot was a good look. I'd rather not shoot a 3. I would rather go to the rim. Now, LSU's terrible finishing at the rim. I mean, LSU in the game on layups was 11 of 20. But that's still 50%. Plus, if you go to the rim and shoot around the rim, you've got a better chance to get fouled and a better chance to make the basket. So I would prefer the ball go to the rim there. But you got a wide open look from about a 35% three-point shooter who had made some shots in the game. I mean, at that point, he was 4 of 7 from three-point range. He finishes, of course, 4 of 8. So it's a good look. It's not the one I wanted, but I'm okay with it. Now, for those that say Eason needs to have the ball instead of Pinson, I personally disagree with that. If they would have given the ball to Eason and let him work, I'd be fine with it. I would rather Pinson have the ball. He's the guy that has 8 assists in the game. He's a capable finisher at the rim, and he usually makes the right play. And in this case, they did help, and he made the right play. So I'm okay with the 3. I didn't prefer it, and I prefer the guy that had the ball as opposed to Eason. Again, yeah. Lukewarm as it may be, I'm telling you the truth, as it were. That's kind of the way that I see it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you're going to draw something up on the out-of-bounds play, but what you can't account for is how the defense is going to react. You're not in their huddle. You don't know what their rotations are going to be. You don't know what matchups they're going to put on which guy. But I think with the current situation, with the clock ticking the way it was, you got to get a shot up. The last thing you want is a turnover or not to be able to get a shot up. You got a wide-open look. They work on that shot all day around, shoot around practice. That's a shot that, they'll probably take again if given the opportunity. So I'm never going to get mad. I can see if someone went in the lane and got thrown out of bounds by a big man or something. You got a wide open look. It just didn't happen to fall for you. It's a tough time. You shouldn't even been in a situation to begin with the amount of leads you had in both halves. But find yourself there and you put yourself in that position to lose a game, and that's exactly what happened.
I mean, Pinson did have 4 turnovers. That's a lot. But Eason had 6. So in that spot, if you give the ball to Eason, he's going to shoot it. And there's people listening to the show say perfect. But he's not going to pass. He's a little bit of a bull in a china shop, and you're going to get a ton of help side defense. I just don't know if I like him in an ISO situation where everyone knows where the ball is going to go. If it's in the flow of an offense and you get a matchup and he can get the defense in rotation and drive, he's great at that. I just would rather have Pinson setting up. And that's what Will Wade has done his entire time here, is basically let his best ball handler cook at the end of games. We've seen that with Tremont Waters, seen it with Skylar Mays, we've seen it with Javonte Smart, and now you're seeing it with Xavier Pinson. That's just what he generally is going to do. Like it, hate it, that's what's going to be, and that's what it was. So LSU has this one get away from them, and they lose it 77-75. Just a very, very disappointing loss. But again, I just don't think it's one that's going to be crippling for their resume. The net didn't even really move. It was a road game. What you've done, and we'll talk about this at the top of hour number 2 when we talk about the rest of the SEC basketball slate. What you've done now is you've eliminated any chance that you've got to get to the 4 line in the SEC tournament to get the double bye. You're going to lose that, one of the lines we've always been using for the last couple of years, the only team to have the double bye for 3 or 4 years in a row. That streak's coming to an end because of the results that we saw on Saturday, as well as LSU dropping it. But again, it's not some Ole Miss at home loss. It's an albatross on you. It's just a blown opportunity and winning on the road. It doesn't get any easier as they go to Rupp Arena heading up on Wednesday. How do you think the team feels mentally after losing that game against South Carolina and then going to play a Kentucky team that played pretty well on Saturday without a starting backcourt?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough sledding right now because especially this basketball team, especially the way they started this season, being ranked and starting the season unranked and having a ton of success and having the early success you had in SEC play, you're feeling good. And then you hit that scoring low and you hit that losing streak and you did all those things. And then you felt like you came out of it. You started to get your players back, and then you have a tough loss on the road. So now you can't hang too much on this one. This is a Kentucky team you've already beat before. I know some of the stuff in their lineup. Some guys are out of the lineup. Ty Washington, Wheeler out of the lineup and everything that way. But you do have a win over them. So you can hope that you can, take something from that one and try to bring that into this one because this stretch is coming up. It's very tough here. So the last thing you want to do is lose out for the rest of this season. And then now you're going to be on the verge of not making the tournament. So you're going to have to win one here, especially a big one, especially on the road. Let's see if they can do it. Thanks so much for watching Hunt and Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor. Hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. We'll see you next time.